back again, and this time again I would normally do this flat on a table. I would actually not recommend you do this vertically at all, but just for this video I've put my cutting mat, I've clipped it onto my board so it's nice and stable, and again luckily magnets underneath, and this one's strong enough, just holding the paper here. Now when I'm cutting out of stencils, I showed you the other two which I'd already done, which was this one, as you can see, this finger in this side and some eyelashes, and this one which had the really dark shadows. So these two I'd already cut out, and last time I used freehand shields to cover up this area here, and I tried to do the finger here freehand, and although it worked pretty well, I was just thinking this time I'm going to try it to cut this out and see if that helps. Again, I'm experimenting, I'm learning, and hopefully what I learn I can pass on to you, and it's happening right now. So here we go. This time I also used freehand shields like this circle to go around the eye, actually, so do it that way. And yeah, I got some overspray down here, which was not a huge problem because then I could clean it up with my erasers, and then you know, I could use any of these freehand shields to go in and cover up certain areas, whichever fits. You know, you've got to look and find which one that fits. See, that fits quite well, but I could still get some overspray here. Now I could cover that up somehow, but it just makes it easier. As I said, I already make about 6 copies of this with a PNG file format, saved it as, not a JPEG, because the JPEG, you've got more chance of it each time you make a copy that it'll be slightly different. This is much more reliable, or a TIFF, so a TIFF file, or TIF, or the PNG, much more stable. So I made 6 copies of these. So now I can go in, and what I want to do is cut out this area. Now I use different ones, by the way. I always, anything that's this sharp, you want to make sure you've got this covered up, because this is a Scalpel. This is a 10A blade. This one, keep it covered up, just push it into this old rubber which I don't use because I don't like it. Or there's this one which is an NT cutter, and this one, it's more round to hold, it's got a smaller blade, and you get this one which is a 30-degree blade in it, and you can also get 45-degree blade. I like this one, but I'm just not used to it as I'm used to this one, so I find myself, no matter what I do, this one can be very nice for when you're getting in and around really small fiddly things. This one's much nicer when you're doing longer strokes, and cutting with a ruler. I find that or a straight edge much better, but it's up to you what you want to use. Again, you have to experiment and find what works for you. And then I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to cutting out here. Going down along the bottom. Now this was quite crucial, so, but again, these aren't exactly straight, these lines, and they don't need to be. So I don't need to bother with those highlights. You can if you want to, I'm not going to bother. It's totally up to you what you want to do. It's your painting. Go around here. And try and make that curve a nice curve. Because when you think of the iris, the curves are quite important. Now for the rest of this up here, it doesn't really matter because it goes into dark. So I'm just going to go slightly above it and then just cut that off. Because I've already put the dark area down. So this, it's only this edge and down here that's important. You have to plan these stencils, you have to really think carefully what you want to cut out, what you want to take away and what you want to leave in. Now the other one that I was just this line here, because it's so light behind, I did it freehand before, like I say it worked quite well, but just to try something different I'm going to cut it out this time. The problem is that you can get a really hard line and I don't really want a hard line. But I do want to be able to put in some of these dark areas. I'm going down to this dark area down here and then I'm going to cut that out. There's a light area there, but I'll probably have to remove that then with an eraser. Right, so I'm just going around here, just around the edge of this nail. But I also found that quite hard, but I don't have to do that. I might use a different technique. Now I've always go a little bit further at the top here, because that's going on to where the tape is. Now I'm just going to cut along here and down here. And this one I'm not actually going to really cut it out. If you've got any edges that get a bit stuck like this, just pop your blade in very, very carefully. Very, very carefully. And just pop that. See this? And then I'm just going to fold this one back, because I'm only going to use this on this top area up here, a little bit here, and around this, around the cuticle there. I don't think I'm even going to go down there, I've decided not to. I'll just leave a small edge. So there you go, that's cutting that out. Now as you've seen, I've already done this in 3 stencils. Now if you wanted to, you could do it in 1 or 2, and then where you've got different areas you can just cover those. Like for example, if you do you could cut this out where I did the one with the eyelashes, and then cover this up. But keep any bits that you cut out just in case you want to go and do something else, and then you can use those, you see. I could block that up. If I did the eyelash one, cut that out, put that in, and just put a magnet over the top. But keep these, you never know, and see what you want to do. There you go. That's how I cut out. Some people also like to, when they're cutting, use a wiggly line. Obviously not when you really want a hard edge, but do a wiggly line, and that kind of gets rid of a hard edge. Depends what you're cutting out. Again, always experiment, and if you're experimenting you'll find out. So that's stencil number 3, and then we're going to go in and use this stencil to just put in a few little subtleties. Okay, see you in a bit.